Hey guys, it's Dean, and I'm down here doing a tricep routine. So isolated muscle group, and I thought I'd just run this through real quick, see if I can get this done in one shot. Because I've already done 3 sets of what I'm about to show you, and this is going to be the last set. So I'll probably be struggling with this, but like I said, typically I run an arm routine. I'll do bicep tricep at the same time, but today I have the luxury of just isolating. So what I'm isolating is my triceps, and what I've set up is basically a sort of a giant set of one, two, three, four, five movements. Okay, done back to back consecutively without really much, if any, of a rest in between. Just enough time to go to the next station and start the next movement. So without really wasting any time, let's get started. I'm gonna flip the camera over. I'm gonna try and follow this thing, from beginning to end, carrying this silly camera around with me as I go, because I do have one of the movements set up in the other room, a reverse close grip tricep press. So anyway, let's see if we can make this happen. Okay, first movement in this routine is just a basic dip, okay? I think 20 is good enough. Okay, on to the rope, tricep rope press down. Okay, I don't think I'm going to add any more weight. Yeah, this place is a mess. Okay, I managed 20 dips. I think I only got 11 of those. Now, I am moving on to, see if we can get a better angle. A basic French press, okay, with a camber bar. Skull crushers, I guess, if you want to call it that. My elbows are toast, I'll tell you what. That was 8. Big deal. Well, that's all I can get. Alright. Now, I'm going to do I have a dumbbell set up here for basically an overhead press, a sort of a close grip overhead press with a dumbbell. I don't know, 9 maybe. Alright, that's 4th. Now on to the 5th. Fucking mess. Okay, so this last movement is close grip, reverse grip press. Okay, I started doing reverse grips a while back because if you really do a decent close grip, press for your triceps on a straight bar like this, when you come down, it really puts your wrists at an awkward angle, and over time, this can cause some significant pain, some joint pain. So what I found is that if you reverse the grip, you go an underhand grip, and then you come in close. When you press the weight, there's no lateral stress, on your wrist at all. It's just it's just exactly what it should be. A tricep press. Your chest is still involved in it, but really the primary mover here is the tricep. So let's see how many I can get on this last one here. Okay, at the end of this I toss in, I have some calf raises going over there too, but I'll spare you the calf raise. Anyway, so, kind of like I've been preaching through this channel for a long time. It doesn't necessarily take heavy weights, to develop decent muscle. As a matter of fact, it doesn't take heavy weights, period. What it takes is focus, concentration, intensity, and volume, really, and good form. You can go ahead and, you can do your 1 rep maxes and your deadlifts and, your heavy deadlifts and, heavy compound movements, which is great, I guess, but, if what you're trying to do is what I've done here, okay? And by that I mean develop quality, well-defined, okay, balanced muscle tone, muscular, physique, then really what you should be focusing on is more the quality of the work you're doing as opposed to the sheer weight. Okay, volume has a lot to do with it, but when you're talking about sheer weight, okay, when you're talking about significant amounts of weight, there's no volume. How is it that you're having volume in a routine where you're doing 2 reps, or 3 reps, and you're doing them, spread out where you've got 2, 3, 4 minutes in between sets? It's a complete and utter waste of time unless you plan on being a competitive bodybuilder. I watched a guy in the gym the other day, and I don't mind, helping people, I guess, but by helping, in this instance it was to spot. So here I am, I'm over there doing my leg routine, which consisted of 4 different leg movements, done consecutively, and right on my second movement, this guy comes over, asks me if I can spot him on the bench. He's over on the bench, he's been on the bench, and I've watched him. He sat there and he's progressively going heavier to a certain point, and then he reached the peak, and I assume the peak was where I went over and spotted him, which was 245. And he says, I'm only looking at doing 2 reps. I just want to make sure I have somebody standing. I'm like, okay, 2 reps. And so I went over there, and sure enough, he got 2 reps. But I watched him then sit on the bench, okay, get back on his phone, start texting or surfing or whatever, sat there for several minutes, and then dropped down to 225, and I think he got 3 reps, okay? You'll never get me on board with that being, a productive routine, okay? It's not. So if that's how you're going about what you're doing in the gym, then you can expect little or no progress long term or short term. So anyway, I always end up doing this. I start rambling when because this stuff is really important to me. It's important to me that if you are watching these videos and your purpose is to try and do what I think the purpose of this is, which is to develop a really well-proportioned, muscular, balanced, physique, okay? Then what I'm trying to pass on here is what I've done to get to where I'm at, okay? If you think by looking at me that I don't know what I'm talking about or that I have done something wrong, well, then you probably ought to be watching somebody else, like Cali Muscle or I don't know. There are plenty of mass monsters out there who do steroid-fueled, but for most people, that's totally unrealistic. So anyway, I just thought I'd pass this one routine on to you real quick today. I've already talked way over what I had intended to, but just another one of the routines that I use, and I don't necessarily, like I said, this is the way this thing was structured in terms of the order, okay, of the movements, or any aspect of it for that matter was just random. I mean, it was I just the only real deliberate thing that I did in this whole thing was to do the dips first because I don't really do any significant warm-up. I really don't do any warm-up. My warm-up is to just do my first round at a fairly light to moderate weight range so that I don't risk injury, and then I move forward from there because when you're doing 4 or 5 movements at a time, by the time you hit your 5th movement, when you get ready to go into the next set, you're good to go. So anyway, just a quick routine, isolates tricep, and I went through this whole thing 4 times, and I went through it 4 times because on the 4th one I really wanted to film this thing so that I could pass it on. But typically I probably would do 1 warm-up set and then 3 good solid working sets and call it a day. So I'm done. Anyway, thanks.